This has been my struggle for me, to try and relay all this information I want to have been, come on over here, bub, to relay for some time. Because what my problem is I've got so much to say, and I try and categorise what I want to say into short videos so it's easy to digest, easy to interpret. But the most conclusive way to explain how I've come to understand what I know, come on baby, let's come away from there, requires me to give a lot of personal history. Not that I'm wanting to hide the personal history, but I want to explain it in a way that is done briefly enough that maintains attention span so that it's worth listening to and understanding. I don't like doing videos longer than 10 minutes. So this is more like a disclaimer video than anything. So what I'm going to be doing in the next attempted couple of videos is try and tell some stories, personal stories, to explain what I'm trying to explain, and all the doubling down on the moon and the ravens is going to increase. Come away from there, bub. Baby's trying to touch the sheep. I'm trying to avoid her getting trampled. Now, whoa. Just about happened then. Come here. Now, what I'm going to talk about in the upcoming videos has got to do with history repeating itself. Time is often referred to as a timeline and a direct line, which anyone who thinks about it a little bit more than anyone else knows that time is not linear, and you might consider it cyclical, like a cycle. History repeats itself. Well, this is true and can be true, but it's not the way I choose to look at it. And for the longest time now, pun not intended, but not sorry, time, I see, is cyclical but not a closed circle. I think a closed circle of time is what we would consider a curse. Unless you've got the perfect life that you want it to repeat over and over again for all eternity. That might be what you would call, for lack of a better word, actually I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going to call that anything. I view time as a spiral from within the centre, just going around and around and around. Now, with each cycle, that circle is very similar to the previous one, but when you operate on a spiral, the circle grows, it improves. So if you thought about events on a timeline following a cycle, but a spiral, well, with each revolution, think of it like going around the clock, like going around like clockwork. With each cycle, there's going to be alignments of great similarity. And with each repetition, with each lifetime and return, you're going to go through events that are the same as what you went through before. And I think some of this is good and some of this is bad. I think it's our purpose and our duty to improve with each incarnation, which means we're naturally going to want to not repeat the same mistakes twice. I think only an idiot would go, "Oh, this is my path. There's not my this is a part of the fate versus free will conundrum. It's not one or the other. Fate and free will coexist. Some things we have to leave to fate because there's not much we can do about it, or maybe there's not much we should do about it. Other things, free will, willpower, Moonin. I'm talking about you. Moonin is something that we can... You're alright, don't worry about it. mooning is something that we can use to improve our fate on our next turn. Isn't that right? But, like any time travel story, what happens when you go back into the past? Well, we're not going back and forward in time like the films, the Back to the Future sci-fi stuff. They're great for thinking about stuff, and they're great to put ideas in your mind. Like, what happens when you go back in time and you change something? Well, you get that butterfly effect, don't you? And that affects the future. And then always the problem is, I want to get back to my old life. Watch out for the prickles. I want to get back to my old life as it was. So the problem is always, what do you change and what do you not change? And it's always like, well, do I... Yeah, there's prickles, baby. Shh, come over here. What do we change for the better, and what are the risks and sacrifices with changing things? Well, going around and around in circles, like I said, unless you've got the perfect life, you don't want to go around and around in circles. You don't want to do that. Because I don't know anyone who's got a perfect incarnation. No, there's prickles. Stop going through the prickles. Let's go the other way. Now, what I will share, not in this video because I'm already up to the 6-minute mark, I'm going to share some personal history and how symbolically history has repeated itself in my family, and how I view the alarmingly exact repetitions as a curse. Like, I'm not ashamed to say my family is cursed, but it's my duty to break that curse, and that's what I intend to do. I've spoken about wealth and familiar wealth, and I'm not talking about monetary wealth. That's important, and there's a saying about wealth which is referring to monetary wealth, but it goes beyond that, and that the wealth of a family lasts for 3 generations, right? So this is the fortune of the family. This is the fate of the family. Now, yes, it applies to money, and it's got to do with, a grandfather might build monetary wealth, and then by the time their grandchildren are adults, it's completely spoiled if the path is not laid out correctly. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I'm going to give my personal accounts on how these cycles work. This is not the case for every single person in the world. I am fucking blessed in that my life has been absolutely laden with symbolical hints for me to pick up on. This is memory. This is memia. My willpower, my moonin, is what's driven me to try and change and fix my familiar curse. My Hugin, my thoughts, my intelligence, my ideas, is what have helped me identify the patterns. And I'm not trying to be boastful in saying this. I'm trying to say this as humbly as possible. But there's no way to share these things without speaking about achievements. And I'm not going to talk about that in this video. But what I will say is that my greatest strength is my memory. I don't know anyone who has a longer, stronger memory than I do. Now, again, I'm not trying to boast here, but I'm not a moderate in what I do. I've got plenty of achievements, whether it be physical, mental. Like, I've done things, and things that I've done in no half measure. Everything I've done 110%. When it comes to, I don't know, I don't want to go there, but like, whatever I've had an interest in, I've always been at the top of. Whether it be my work. When I go to work, when I've worked for other people, employers would literally fight over who was going to get me to work for them. Literal fights. And they fucking hate each other. And ruin friendships. They have ruined their friendships over trying to get me on their side. Am I the best bloke in the world? No, but I'm often the best at what I want to do, what I desire to do. And that's got to do with all sorts of different things. But, like I said, I'm not trying to brag, but my point in that is, I'm good at a lot of things, right? And to say that my memory is my greatest strength, I will not say humbly. But if I had nothing else, my memory would still always be the most important thing. And I've always maintained, and I've always said, and I'm over the damn 10-minute mark, but I've always said that memory and to remember is the most important thing. And I'm going to talk about that in the next one.